Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner. Try to disagree, although this week we're kind of just having a discussion rather than a disagreement, but we do want you guys to get involved in the comment section down below and let us know what you think on this topic. So, in the endurance world, there's a bit of a tendency for adding more. You can run 3 kilometers, the next goal is to run 4 kilometers, then the next goal is to run 10 kilometers, and then you're targeting a half marathon, and then, or maybe in triathlon it's a sprint distance, and then if you haven't done a sprint distance, you aim for the Olympic distance, and then you aim for a half Ironman, perhaps. Is this healthy? Where does this end? So I guess the question here is the essence of triathlon in the local sprint distance triathlon, and Ironman is kind of this fringe for the lunatics, or is Ironman the essence of triathlon and everything else is kind of a feeder for the whole Ironman kind of distance, the ultra distance, the actual distance of a triathlon?
You're absolutely right. Everything just seems to be going one up. Can you remember when an Ironman tattoo was a rarity?
We're not going to touch that. If you've got an M.dot tattoo, you're allowed to have an M.dot tattoo. I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? Because it becomes part of your lifestyle. It becomes part of who you are. And then that's all you talk about. That's all you talk to a local triathlete who's just starting out. And you're like, so what race are you aiming for? And okay, you've done a sprint. Are you going to do a standard distance? Are you going to do a half? Have you ever thought about doing an Ironman? And it kind of very quickly becomes this thing. And it's something that I've seen throughout my life because I grew up in South Africa. And in South Africa, Comrades Marathon, 87 kilometer ultra marathon is absolutely massive. And there was very much a tendency to be like, oh, you're a runner. Have you done Comrades? Are you going to do Comrades? Why haven't you done Comrades? It's like, it's an 87 kilometer run. What do you mean? I can be a runner without having run an 87 kilometer run. And I think there's a little bit of that in triathlon too. And part of it is because of the nature of triathlon. It's an endurance challenge. So once you can endure a sprint distance, the next step is logically to attempt to endure some more.
Well, I face this a lot. I mean, I came into the sport short course, so doing the draft legal side of racing, and I constantly asked that by friends, family members. Oh, so you do triathlon, so have you done an Ironman? I'm like, no, I do a very different part of the sport, which is a lot faster and no less impressive. And yeah, I very much stuck in that path, and I used to find that infuriating.
I think part of the problem in triathlon, though, is the benchmarks. Like in running, there's almost, if you tell someone you ran a 10K, they know what a good time is. If you did a 10K in under an hour, you're a solid runner. If you did a half marathon in under 2 hours, you're a solid runner. You've achieved something, and there's kind of benchmarks that the general community understands. Whereas in triathlon, if you say I did a sprint distance and I did it in an hour 15, they're going to be like,
cool, is that good?
Yeah, okay. What does that mean? And whereas an Ironman, you can finish it and you just say, I finished it. No one's asking your time. No one cares whether you did 11 hours or 16 and a half hours. If you finished an Ironman, you get that tattoo, man. You deserved it because you finished it. And I think that's part of the tendency in triathlon, essentially, because people want that kind of badge, that part of their identity that says, I achieved something, and you kind of look at other people and go, you know, I've achieved something.
But I think you do that through some of the shorter distance stuff because you can do it more regularly. So you might only manage to do a couple of Ironmans in a year, but with sprint distance or Olympic distance triathletes, you can do so many events in 1 year that then actually you become so passionate about or targeting a goal time that actually you just see this progress and you're targeting that next 1 hour 10 sprint distance triathlon or whatever it may be, that then actually it becomes very competitive.
Yeah, but you kind of only just compete against yourself.
That's great.
Whereas with Ironman, it's kind of like this. I guess the thing with Ironman is it's a complete lifestyle change. You can't do an Ironman without changing your lifestyle completely. You can't be going out on a Friday night on the and getting up and doing long rides on Saturday morning. It just can't happen. Whereas with sprint distance, it can fit around your life, right? The short distance can fit around. You don't have to change everything. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. For some people, it's a really good thing to change their whole lifestyle around Ironman, and that then consumes them. But I think probably for most people, being able to carry on with triathlon without well, sacrificing your marriage, for example, but even sacrificing your normal lifestyle, your time with your mates, etc., your holidays, is far more attractive, and we should be promoting that a lot more. That healthy lifestyle of just go and do a local triathlon once or twice a summer and keep yourself fit and healthy and everything else. And it doesn't have to be a progression to, oh, right, so next year you're going to do a half, right?
100%. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be a necessity for you, for the sport and for you to be classed as a triathlete. Actually, we did those sprint distance triathlons on that bikepacking weekend. And it was a reminder. I haven't done a sprint distance triathlon for years. And it was amazing. And we finished by, I think, like 9 a.m. in one of them. And I'm like, oh my God, we've got the rest of the day. And I feel okay. And actually, I could probably go and hang out with my family and various other things.
Well, we couldn't because we had to bike to another place to bikepack.
But had I been with my family. And it really reminded me actually how much fun that is. And as I say, you can do so many more of them and have a lot of fun with it.
Also, there's the prohibitively expensive cost of an Ironman lifestyle. Like, Ironmans don't happen in your local park unless you're very lucky. So you're going to have to travel. You also have the cost of the entry, the cost of all the training, the cost of all the equipment. Whereas your local sprint, you can use whatever bike you have in your garage. And yeah, you might be a little bit slower if your bike is an old banger, but it's still fun, as we've shown, because we've done a few sprints and super sprints on 100 quid eBay bikes that literally fell apart while we were doing the race, and it was still fun. We finished those races with massive smiles on our faces. So then you're obviously looking at a lot less of an investment in time, in money, in everything else, in lifestyle, for much of the same health and enjoyment benefits from it.
I think we're in agreement then on that. I want to pose this next question to you then, because I've got a couple of friends in this scenario. They maybe did a triathlon years ago. One in particular I can think of probably about 10 years ago. Still comes, swim, bikes and runs with us. Do we class them as a triathlete?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. If you did a triathlon once 20 years ago, are you still a triathlete?
I think you do. Like they are passionate about the sport. They love being part of the community. They still come and cheer us all on. They just love triathlon. They just don't really want to compete and do events anymore. But they swim, bike, and run.
Fair enough. Still a triathlete until you've chosen another lifestyle, like a trail runner. Until you've chosen another identification tag, you will be labelled as a triathlete forever if you've done a triathlon. I think that's fair enough.
And then what if you haven't ever done a triathlon but you swim, bike, and run? Are we just going down a whole different path? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Look,
you're all welcome, I think.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Triathlon is a lovely community. And I think that's the great thing about the sport. You can come in whatever ability, you can just get stuck into triathlon.
And we're not bashing Ironman, the people who are focusing on Ironman. You should do whatever challenge is challenging for you. It is the challenge that is the appeal of triathlon. And for some people, just getting around a sprint distance is the challenge. For some people, going under an hour in a sprint distance is their challenge. And for some people, getting around an Ironman in 16 hours and 59 minutes is their challenge. It doesn't matter. As long as the challenge fits your lifestyle and you don't feel like you've been peer pressured into doing the next step on the ladder. I think that's probably the thing that triathlon in general needs to avoid. You don't have to progress from one distance to the next distance every time. You can just keep doing the same distance. And no, I'm completely happy with sprint or Olympic.
So I didn't have to do that Ironman.
Oh, no, you need to do some Ironmans, Mark. You're way behind me on your count. Way behind.
Oh, well, that is. It's been an interesting chat about this. We'd love to hear from you guys what you think about this debate. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below and any suggestions for other try to disagree debates.
Yeah, we'll be arguing those next time or answering your own questions. Remember, hashtag GTN Coaches Corner below this with your actual training questions for our coaches next week. See you then.